7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, no need for roll call. Everybody's prepped. Old business, approval of minutes. The regular meeting minutes of February 19, 2026 were provided for review, so I need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 19, 2026 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call roll.
Mr. Kowalski?
Yes.
Mr. Garvey?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Pierce?
Yes.
Mr. Brungard?
Abstain.
Ms. Hatcher?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Motion passed. Audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda? Come forward, state your name and address so we know who you are, Dan.
I'm Daniel Clemens. I live at 124 Bittersweet Lane here in Lansing. I got the connections last week, and I misinterpreted the last page talking about preserving our past as an endorsement by the city on the yes-no vote on the bond issue. And I wanted to come up and explain why. Everything that's in here has by who did it. You've got a picture of the council members when they write something. They got the mayor's byline from the city administrator. Even Dave Bueller has a byline. But you get back here, and all it says is content was by 469. I understand that you can't edit, or you don't feel like you need to edit other people's stuff, but you could put the line head on there and say, from the school board, USD 469, or a disclaimer that says content is responsibility of USD 469, just to make it clear that that's who is presenting the information. And that would eliminate a lot of confusion. And that kind of separates it from city actions and school actions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice, yeah. Jerry, you too. Come on up. Same topic.
Yes, well, with that topic, and I've got one other thing.
Can you say your name, sir?
My name is Chase Spears. I am neighbors with Dan, as it turns out. Also on Bittersweet Lane, 529. Don't any terrorists come attack me for it. Just wanted to come up, so to give you a reason why this kind of caught my attention, my whole career has been in communication. I was an organizational communicator for the military for 20 years, and we were trained very much about being careful not to do anything that implied potential endorsement for ballot initiatives. And this was clearly a ballot initiative. And I don't think there was any malintent on parts of the council, the lady and gentlemen of the council on this. But echoing Mr. Clemens' point, there is a perception of an endorsement for a bond initiative. And I know you're all citizens of the city as well, so I don't want to insult your intelligence on this. But I want to give you a true outsider's perspective of someone who's not in here very often, a guy who lives kind of out in Rio Linda, as they might say. I get this, and my thought is, well, of course, why would the city not be in favor of this? Because my every interaction with the city has been how deep can it get into this thing? And Mayor and I have talked about that a couple of other occasions that I've had to deal with certain city officials. In my mind, when I got this thought, yeah, of course, why wouldn't they endorse it? Every permit is ka-ching for City Hall. Every truck that runs into the city is ka-ching for City Hall. And if I wanted to live in Lansing, in Johnson County, where it's expensive, we'd move there. We live here to try to keep our costs in check, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to do that. And I know you all know that. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but I would say, I would offer this is a communication foul. And if the city would like me to, give some additional, insight on that one-on-one, I'd be happy to do it. But this was a forced error, and it didn't need to be. This was very, very easy to not do. Second thing, we beat that horse. Gentlemen and lady, I would love a crosswalk at 4H and 7. And I don't know if that's been discussed here or not. I've not brought it up to y'all before. I brought it up to a City Hall official before ground was broke on the aquatic center. And we could finish an aquatic center before we can even seem to take any action at all on a crosswalk at the intersection where our city hall is, where our library is, where there are major neighborhoods all around, where the Sonic is. That to me does not seem like a mission impossible. So I've tried to address it with City Hall. So I'm bringing it to all of you and asking is there some way we can please get a crosswalk in at 4H and 7. I don't think that's a Herculean effort, and I don't think any of you would think so either. So thanks so much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We probably have to ask the state about that, right, Mike? Since it's state property, 7 Highway.
Yes. If we were to, we've identified it as a future something that we would need to address, especially when we talk about transportation alternatives for animals.
I was going to say some of the stuff ties in with one of the things I was going to mention to you guys a little bit later. So.
But yes, Kansas Department of Transportation would be involved. It would involve making some modifications to the signaling at the intersection to include pedestrian calls.
Right.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Item number 2 is floodplain management. Public Works Director Mike Spickelmier will present a report on Lansing's floodplain management, including FEMA, National Flood Insurance Program, and Community Rating System.
Thank you, Council. Just real quick, just to kind of bring everybody up to speed, we do this, it does say annual. We haven't done it for 2 years, but we do have an annual recertification every year that happens with the Federal Emergency Management Agency for our national flood insurance. So if you're not aware, we are part of what's called the Community Rating System. It's just where we go through and we have things in our code, in our ordinance, and in our practices that allow us to solicit for discounts in our flood insurance. And we are a 7 community, which is it's a descending scale, so the higher the number, the better you're doing. So we're doing pretty well. And if you look around Kansas, there's only a couple 7 communities and 1 6 community. So we are definitely a lot more proactive when it comes to flood control than a lot of communities, and we take a lot of effort to do that. And just to kind of show you a little bit, these are the statistics that we submitted to FEMA last year, and we put a lot of effort in. You'll see it in the connection. You'll see what we do. It takes quite a bit of effort for Kelly and I to get this stuff put together, but we were successful in getting a renewal. It's a 5-year renewal, and we got our 7. So we're pretty pleased with that. They are changing some of the rules, so we will see if we are able to continue with our success, but we are still diligent. We're going to make some modifications to the UDO from our last audit to strengthen it a little bit. But the big thing is we've got floodplain ordinance. We've got Section 17 of the code that tells you what you can and can't do in the floodplain. And the biggest thing for us is just to keep people from building in the floodplain. And there was a big push for this in 2015 because FEMA redrew what they call the FIRM, or the Flood Information Rate Maps. And when they did that, some people that were out of the floodplain suddenly found themselves in the floodplain. So if anyone has any floodplain questions, please feel free to direct them our way, and we'd be really happy to kind of explain what we do and how we do it. So I just wanted to provide that quick update and answer any questions that you may have.
You gave this report a few years ago, right?
Yes, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Were we a 7 back then too?
Yes, so 2025, and we did it in 2026, was our 5-year recert. So we will do it again in 2030, 2031. So yes. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Okay. No questions for Mike? We're all good? All right. Thanks, Mike.
He wasn't asking for money, so that
Yeah.
makes it easier.
And it does tie in with our Flood Safety Awareness Week.
It's mostly good news, so that's good. Okay, new business, letter of support for Leavenworth Water Works. The city of Lansing approved a letter of support on behalf of Leavenworth Water Works in March of 2025. And thanks to Representative Derek Smith, they were allocated $1.25 million in the FY26 Interior Appropriations Bill due to significant additional costs associated with the construction of a new water plant. Leavenworth Water Works is applying for an additional $9.5 million in the interior appropriations. Lan-Del, which you all know provides water for many of our citizens, purchases approximately 500,000 gallons of water per day from Leavenworth Water Works. The more funds Leavenworth Water Works is able to receive would offset construction costs and potentially alleviate a future rate hike for us. So it's in kind of our best interest to give them a letter of support. So I need a motion to authorize Mayor McNeil to sign a joint letter of support for upgrades to Leavenworth Water Works infrastructure.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one? No discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Kowalewski,
Yes.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Pierce,
Yes.
Mr. Brungard,
Yes.
Mrs. Hatcher,
yes,
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Reports from any department heads. Everybody shaking their head no? City attorney.
Another report, Mayor.
Okay. City administrator, Tim.
Thanks to everyone who showed up for the K-5 open house downstairs. It was really well attended. I thought KDOT was kind of impressed with how many people were there showing interest, so that is great. Comments are still being accepted online until March 13th. So I would encourage you guys, if you know anyone who is interested in that, to submit those comments online. KDOT will still read those. One of the big themes, I think, when you were looking at all of the boards was how they have $30 million for a project this big. And I think they're looking for ways they can get the best bang for their buck. I know my thought was, I think, from McIntyre to the east, I think is probably a pretty good bang for their buck, and you're not interfering with quite as many landowners if you're doing that. But please do submit comments to KDOT, especially if you haven't. Making that road safer, improving our access to 435, those would be two things that would be great for Lansing. So, the Ride LV program, we're still talking with the City of Leavenworth about that for potential public transportation in Lansing. They've invited us to a meeting on March 17th, so I'll be there. Mr. Brungard, I think you had said you wanted to be there too, so if anyone else wants to go and kind of be a part of that discussion.
What time is that?
I think it's at 7, so I'll verify that.
Okay.
But yeah, March 17th at the Leavenworth Commission meeting. So, Mr. Spears had a good point about crosswalks on K7. We've heard that a lot. So we did begin the process of reapplying for that Transportation Alternatives Grant through the state of Kansas. That was the one that we applied for, I think, in 2024. So we've talked about, like, there's different pots of money, right? So this is through the state. The lady who was here a couple months ago was through the Mid-America Regional Council, which is more federal money. But so we applied through the state, and hopefully, I guess hopefully we have good news. A trail going from the high school down 4H and crossing the road, I think it was, the engineer's estimate was like $3 million or $3.2 million or something like that. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that even with a 75 or 80% grant, 20% of that, our 20% match is still pretty significant. So that's something to keep in mind. I can't remember if we ever had an estimate for doing a crosswalk there without the grant. But you guys know, I mean, it is tough because K7 is a state highway. So it's our main street, but it's not as easy as painting a crosswalk by the high school or something like that. So there's a few more hoops and things we have to jump through in order to do that. Any questions on that?
I think it's important for people to realize that, studies have to be done and all that kind of stuff. It's not just go out there, and it takes a lot more than just saying we'll do it, especially with it being on state highway.
Yeah, at that location, absolutely. There's less regulations if it's Lansing Lane or 4A or
Right.
something like that.
But I like the fact that we're making a point of bringing the issue to the front now because of that, because it's going to take some time. And
Yeah.
if we have some community interest in having that, then we need to do our due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we have the bridge down here by Ida with the sidewalk that goes underneath of it. I know a lot of communities now are putting tunnels underneath highways for people to travel through. I don't know if that's probably an expensive option, but it would be a very safe option for kids to go that direction. But because to me, I still think it would be very unsafe to have people walking across a state highway, even if there's a crosswalk. Because today, with people, I'm a truck driver, so I see it all day long. People are like this all day long. So someone's going to run through a stop sign, stop light, and run somebody over. So that would be my number one concern with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then, so lastly, I appreciated Mr. Clemens and Mr. Spears being really respectful about the questions and comments about the connection. So yeah, just a little bit of background behind that final page of the connection. I think we had a joint work session with the school board in 2022, so they'd been doing a page in the connection for a few years. Kind of like we had talked about, the city really doesn't edit or tell them what to write. Also, from an informational and educational standpoint, I do understand their thought process in putting something like that in there. One thing that we did go back and look at, so Leavenworth County, when they did their county-wide sales tax election in 2014, we did the same thing for the county in 2014. I believe the county commissioners are looking at doing a special sales tax for a dispatch system for the sheriff's office. If they wanted to have a column in there to educate people about a special sales tax for the dispatch system for the sheriff, we would allow Sheriff Dedeke to do that as well. So the goal was, information, education. I regret that it kind of, sparked disagreeing opinions on that. But I did want to give you guys a little bit of background on that, how we got here, kind of our background and everything. So, and that's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. And we'll go to the council, starting with Jake.
I got nothing tonight.
Okay. Jesse.
I've got nothing there.
Okay. Pete.
I did attend the K-5 open house. I thought it was very informative. I actually attached myself to one of the representatives, and he walked around and explained the boards to me. He was very thorough. It was a great information collection for me. I'm hoping that and I did almost use word for word. They had a little customer comment box at the end, and I used word for word what was shared with us before because I fully support it. But good job to everybody that had that come to Lansing so that our community, the room was full when I was there. People were kind of trying to get in front of each other to look at the boards. So that would be my only concern, is that maybe we find a larger area where we could spread it out and maybe even open up some kind of discussion or dialogue with. There was a lot of questions there, but it was excellent. I also have a take on the Lansing connection. I prepared a statement real quick. I said, I read the USD 469 article in the Lansing connection. The information in the article seems to me to be informing the Lansing residents on the bond issue. It appeared to me to be information only. However, this is the Lansing City publication, which I believe makes it look like the city endorses the bond. It is a perception issue only, and I believe someone should have caught it. We need to ensure something like this does not happen again. There's nothing we can do about what happened in the past, but we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that's the end of my statement, and thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Pete. Chris?
I'd like to start off by paraphrasing an email that I received from a citizen, basically saying every city, I believe, wants to be a clean city. There's too much trash floating around the city. I would like to see city leaders and workers do a better job of cleaning up trash at businesses and things like that. I said I would mention this in the meeting tonight. And also, I think we've beat the Lansing connection up, But I will say this, you could look either way. Pro, for, it didn't say vote yes. But when I had a school board member, and for the record, it wasn't the school board member sitting next to me, standing up with a picture of the front page of the connection and the back page of the bond, it made it look like we were all standing there. I support this. Wasn't a good look. I have nothing else. Okay.
Thanks, Chris. Carrie.
I agree with what Jesse said about, I'd look at kids crossing a crosswalk on a state highway. I worry about that. When I approach the stoplight at 4H Road and K7 and it turns green, I'm on 4H Road. I don't ever just look at the light and go. I'm looking both ways because inevitably somebody's going to run it. And I had actually saw a really bad wreck. It was a fatality wreck there not so many years ago. So, I mean, if we've got kids crossing it, would a crosswalk make it at least safer? Yeah, I guess, but I cringe when I see people crossing that highway. I just think they're asking for it. So that's my 2 cents. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Rebecca.
I don't want to repeat the stuff that other people have said, but yeah, it was nice to see the community come together, and the room was full at the K5, so I appreciate that. And then, yeah, I see people walk across McIntyre and 7 and 4 and 7 all the time. So I hope we have a little more, safety precautions put into place, so it'd be cool.
Maybe a bridge over.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's another way they do it, is
Bingo.
put something over top of it. Yeah. Okay. Is that it, Rebecca?
Oh, yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah, I didn't realize this was such a touchy thing with this back page and all that, but I'd like to address what happened earlier tonight with your comments. The information, I don't know if you guys were at any of the meetings where this information was presented, but there was nothing different on that back page than what was presented at those meetings. So I'm not sure how you would think that the city would endorse something like that other than it was in the connection. And if it was in the connection, and I'm not sure how you cross your T's and dot your I's in your communication, but we improve our communication here by resident comments. And that was an improvement from years ago when people wanted to know more about what was going on. So Ken, before Diana, did a lot to improve communication. She's doing that. And I get a little bit touchy when people say we don't have good communication. We do, and we're improving it. Things like this help, but we already have good communication. That's all.
Okay. Thanks, Gene.
With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. So you have nothing, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
I couldn't add a thing that.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Call a roll.
Mr. Kowalski.
Yes.
Mr. Garvey.
No.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Pierce.
Yes.
Mr. Brungart.
Yes.
Mrs. Hatcher.
Yes.
Mr. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
We are adjourned.